Okay, the next section is going to be all about navigating the viewport. Tumbling, panning, and zooming. First way I'll show you is using this thing called the gizmo, where you can just click in the gray area with the left button and you can tumble. A little clunky. You can also click on these individual axes to get these orthographic views. Again, not the most useful way of using it, but it's there. The other thing is the number pad, which is very useful. Remember that you can't use the regular keyboard numbers, but you have to use a number pad. We'll go over them. 0 is for the camera view. The period is to zoom in on a particular object that's selected. You do have to have the object selected. So if I click the camera and hit the period, I would zoom to the camera or focus on the camera. If I click the light and I hit period, I will focus on that. So it's more like a focus than a zoom and the object there. Okay. 1 is the front orthographic view. 3 is the right orthographic view. 7 is the top orthographic view. If you move with the 4 key, you go to the left. 6 key, you go to the right. 8 key, you go up. And 2 key, you go down. And the 5 is toggling between an orthographic view of wherever you're looking and the perspective view. So you'll see on the up here it says user perspective, user orthographic, and later in another class we'll talk about the other orthographic views more detailed. All right. The better way to move around is using the middle mouse button to tumble, holding the middle mouse button, holding down Shift and the middle mouse button to pan left or right, up and down, and simply scroll with the wheel to zoom in and out. You can also zoom in and out by holding down Control, middle mouse clicking, and moving up and down to zoom in and out. All right. Okay, so next part is the viewing modes we went over. So viewing modes, we've got all of them up here. Wireframe here, solid, second one. The third one is called material preview. So if you had a material on this, like a color or a texture, you would see it. Right now it's white because there's no real material attached to it. It's a white one. Or the last one is render view, and we're going to talk about rendering later, but basically this is a more accurate view of what will be rendered if you were to render the scene. So the other way to get to these is simply hitting the letter Z on your keyboard. Z is in zebra. That will pull up this little wheel. You can choose solid, wireframe, rendered, material preview. That's the fastest way to get to those different things. All right, good. And last way to look at things is X-ray mode, which is a little bit of a hybrid. So if we kind of look like this and we click this icon up here, top of the screen, you've got a X-ray mode. The keyboard shortcut for that is Option or Alt Z, as in zebra. So you can see through the object, but it's still kind of solid, translucent. Very useful sometimes. All right. Moving along. We've got the different viewing options. The perspective view is this, like we're already done. And we already talked about the different, what an orthographic view is. Now let me do a little bit of a better explanation of orthographic view here. Gonna create a new object, sphere. Gonna grab it and move it, let's say, way back along the y-axis, way back here. Okay, so in perspective view, in any perspective view, when I look at an object like this, the object in the foreground is going to look bigger than the object in the background. So this is created by lens perspective. Orthographic views will flatten these two things so that they look like they might be the same size. So let's go into one of the other views. So here we go. This is front orthographic view. So if I get out of that, here's perspective view from basically the front, looking pretty much straight on. And the cube is right in front of me and the sphere is way back behind. But if I go into orthographic view, they appear to be the same size because orthographic view is simply not taking into consideration the distance between the camera and the object. It's as if they're on the same plane. This can be very useful when you're trying to line things up. So if I want to select this object and grab it and move it along the x-axis so it's right behind the cube or right beside the cube, I could do that. But then in perspective view, you'll see that you wouldn't be able to do that very easily in perspective view. It'd be really hard to line that up that way. So that's just one use. So let's say from the top view, if I zoom way out, you'll see there's the sphere. And I can grab it and move it back up here. So that's how orthographic views work. So the difference is perspective or orthographic. Those are your two options. And we already went over the number pads, so you got that. And as far as navigating the viewport, that's pretty much it. You've got just tumbling, panning, zooming, looking with different modes, and X-ray mode as well, and then using the number pad to navigate the scene a little bit more carefully. All right.